So I have a concern. I read in one of our comments today, to one of our posts that we did, and the guy was speaking about, the particular post was about the woman whose husband lost attraction for her. And, the guy that commented on it went to say, well, did she take into accountability that she could be the cause that he's no longer attracted to her because she could have gained weight, or she could have just let herself go. And I say, to myself, I tried to answer him in the best possible way without typing a whole bunch of stuff. But I think that's a cop-out when a man wants to throw up a woman's weight. Because realistically, we know through life, all of us lose weight, we gain weight. Do you think you're accountable for your partner's weight? Yes or no? Because if the husband is the lead, like they always want to lead, then as her weight started to change, because I'm going to just stay right there with it for right now, what did you do to promote or to encourage her in the weight gain? So there are several key factors that go into weight gain. There are multiple diseases that could happen that cause you hypothyroidism, low thyroids, high thyroids, hormonal imbalance when you're on birth control, when you're off birth control, when you have kids, that stress, just the normal everyday stress of life.
What if she the type of woman that's on the sofa with a 20-ounce Coke and a family size bag of Cheetos? I think that's what he's talking about.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. When that man was dating that woman and he chose to ask that woman to marry her, do you think she wasn't doing that then? Was she not on the couch with the bag of chips and the soda?
I wouldn't doubt she was.
So let's just, for sake of conversation, say she wasn't when he was dating her. So all of a sudden, you realize that the woman that you was dating, that you was so attracted to, was so fine and all this, you done married her, and now she's sitting on a couch with a bag of chips and a cold drink and eating unhealthy. You don't think there's a problem with that? As a man, you would not think there's a problem with that, so because that's a change in behavior.
Let me see if I understand you. She wasn't before, but now all of a sudden she's doing it. Or are you saying she's doing it all along? So it all of a sudden happened at a certain period. This is not a normal thing for her.
She wasn't that. Okay, so
okay. I think I'm following you.
That's what I was addressing that first. Just for sake, and then we're going to talk about it the opposite way, just for sake. So when you met her, she wasn't doing these things. And now she's sitting on the sofa. Y'all been married, say, 2 or 3 years. And she's sitting on the sofa with chips, candy, potato chips, not combing her hair. Just say all those things. And as her husband, you don't see a problem with that?
Yeah, obviously it's a problem. Something going on, something different. Maybe she don't feel like you worth her combing her hair or looking good for her. Now that could be an issue right there.
I'm in agreement with you. I'm in agreement with you 100% on that. But just say, as her husband and the steward and the leader of the household, when you identify that problem, what is your next action?
The only thing you can do is ask her what's going on and if she would try to do better. That's about all you can do.
Okay.
So basically, eventually, I think it'll boil down to you. It could boil down to you giving her an ultimatum.
But what does that serve? What if the issue that's going on with her is deeper than just the physical lack of being lazy? Because see, that's what we are assuming when you see her doing that. That she could have just had a baby and she could be in postpartum depression. She could be in depression because, number one, she was a career woman and she decided to come in and be your wife. And so this is a change of lifestyle for her. So my thing is, we need to have an adult conversation with each other and then find out what's the problem and then see if we can find solution. Because remember, in a relationship, it's not the two people against each other. It's the problem that has caused something. So the thing to do is to remove the enemy, which is the problem. But rather than him do that, he went to the phone to talk to someone else outside of their marriage. Now, we don't know if it was another woman he was talking to, or we don't know if it was one of his homeboys he was talking to. But the mere fact that whatever has happened to make him lose attraction for her is so negative that he went to someone outside of their house.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, you can, for lack of better words, I just say you can fall in love with somebody out of beauty, because a lot of guys do that. You know, they strictly base how they feel about a woman based on how she looks. But looks is just a way to initially attract you, because we all know looks will eventually fade. Eventually they do. So once you initially meet that person and is attracted by their looks, then your next step is to try to get to know that person on another level. You're supposed to connect with that person outside of the exterior of that person. That's where you're supposed to be. That's why you can see people in their old age, or you'll see a handsome man with a woman that you be like, oh my God, why is he with her? Or you see a beautiful woman, you say, oh my God, why is she with him? Because they've moved to another level. But if you never move to that another level, then you're always going to be searching for what you think will make you fall in love with somebody, which is beauty. Some guys are just caught up with beauty. That's just, they think that if I'll love a woman that's beautiful. I mean, they won't really say that, but that's what it is. That's why, they jump from woman to woman, because no matter how beautiful the woman is, eventually, if you're around a person for so long, it's natural for you to get used to that beauty. And when you see something different, it may not even be as beautiful as the woman that you with. All of a sudden, you feel something that was similar to how you felt about the beautiful woman that you have at the moment. And a lot of people don't have the discipline to know that, hey man, listen, let me, or the wherewithal to put themselves in a position to move to the next level with the person, to connect with a person on a certain level. They just don't. So that's why you got a guy on the phone talking about, I'm just not attracted to my wife no more. She done this, or she this, or she that. Then, a lot of time that's the case, because they're not connected on a certain level.
So my question is, do you think that a woman is accountable for physical beauty to keep a man attracted to her? Is that a responsibility of hers to keep herself physically in the same standards that she was?
You don't never want to keep a standard you don't never want to try to, what's the word I'm looking for? No, you shouldn't be trying to look beautiful to try to keep a man. You shouldn't do that. You should be trying to stay looking a certain way so you can feel a certain way inside. Because we all know when you look good, you feel good. Mm-hmm. You dress good, you feel good. You get more confident. That's what you should be doing. You shouldn't be trying, because let me tell you something. When you go down the path of trying to do things, fix things for the person you with, you go down that path, it's just a rabbit hole, because they're going to find something else. They're going to want to fix something else, because in their mind, they're looking for this person that's perfect. They're looking for a perfect. Now they're going to say, I don't want nobody perfect, or I don't need this in. No. But if you're trying to fix somebody, then you're trying to make that whole in your mind. That's what you're trying to do. That's exactly what you're trying to do. So if you accept that person, you should be accepting. Now, I will say this. That's physical.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if a person has a bad attitude, now that's something you can work on, because that innate becomes more I don't know, spiritual. It can become mentally, emotional, mental, yes. all those kind of
and that
kind of things,
that takes
man.
away the peace from the home.
Yeah.
So I agree with those things, but I was just really focusing on, you're a man, and you're very smart. So I was just trying to figure out, because I see a lot in a lot of podcasts and in a lot of different shows and relationship shows. I always see that word accountability comes up when it comes to the umbrella of women. That's the new umbrella for women that men seem to throw out for every topic that seems to come up. They want to say she's not holding herself accountable. She didn't hold herself accountable. And I'm just trying to figure out, how does a woman holds herself accountable for a man being attracted to her? How do you do that, within the realms of reality? Yeah. Unless you're going to lay on the table every time and be in the gym 5 days a week and have somebody putting piles of makeup on your face, like some of these women who go out there and tattoo the makeup on their face so that the man say, I had a patient that said she tattooed the makeup on her face because her husband wanted her to look the same all the time. And then they met after 15 years, he left her for a younger woman. That's insane to me.
Yeah, I mean, when you go down that path of trying to physically make yourself look a certain way to try to keep somebody, it's never, in the long run, not only does it not work, it also lowers your self-esteem as a woman and as a man too, because ain't nobody perfect. And just because you can see a flaw that you don't like about me, there's also things that I may not like about you. Now I may have a woman that's very beautiful, and I think she's very beautiful, above average and above my circle of friends. I think I got the princess of the castle, but there's still some things wrong with her. Mm-hmm. There's still some things wrong with her. Even as beautiful as she could be, there's still a flaw in the beauty. There's still a flaw in the beauty. Not just in the personality, it's still in the flaw in the beauty. Because no person walking this earth is flawless. Mm-hmm. There's always something wrong.
Even when you go do everything, like all these people running around getting, the veneers and trying to have the perfect Hollywood smile and doing all these things to make themselves look perfect. And then yet after you see them 2 and 3 weeks down the line, a couple of years down the line, they're doing more and more and more work till you don't even recognize who they are anymore. Why are you doing all these things to yourself just to make somebody else like you? And then I can, I've had conversations with guys and posted different things with guys, and the first thing you say, I say, well, what if a woman says she's not attracted to you because you have a stomach? Oh, well, she needs to go get her somebody who don't have a stomach. What if she's not attracted to you because you have bad teeth? Oh, well, she needs to go find a man with straight teeth. What if she's not attracted to you because you don't make enough money? Well, then she needs to go find somebody who makes the kind of money that he wants. See, that's the solution, rather than saying, you want a woman to work. You want her because you might like all her other qualities, but something is missing in her physical appearance. Either she don't have enough butt, her titties might not be, her breasts, may not be big enough, her stomach may not be flat enough, her face may have some bumps, some marks in them, and you want her to fix all these things about herself. But the moment she says anything about you, it's, well, I was like this when you met me, and if you don't like it, maybe you should have got the dude that had that. I don't get that.
That's being disingenuous, and
right.
Plus that's being hypocritical. Hey man, you got, if you don't want to fix nothing, then you don't need to be complaining about the person you with fixing something. That's a feminine trait right there.
And marriage is more than just physical attraction. You don't just, like, for me, now I could be wrong, but I believe that marriage is more difficult for men than it is for women, because women, as we're kind of groomed for it. You grow up and you get out into the world, and everybody talk about the white dress and the picket fence and the weddings and all the glamour and glitz of being married. So most women dream someday of different moments in their life, like their sweet 16s, their prom night, and getting married. These are just their normal dreams and things that they kind of think about. But for a man, it's a little different, because marriage requires a man to do more work than a woman.
So why you say it's more difficult
for a man?
For a woman, you said more difficult for a woman than a man.
No, I said marriage is more difficult for a man than a woman.
Oh, okay, that's what you meant.
Yes. Well, if I said it incorrectly, I meant marriage is more difficult for a man than a woman, because a woman is kind of groomed to that's where she needs to go in life. She's kind of raised that way. It's talked into her. It's put all on TVs. There's all kinds of shows that kind of leads the woman into, you're supposed to be a wife, However, men are not groomed, and I'm not saying all men, but most men are not groomed to be husbands. Now, they may grow up in a household where they have a father who stayed with their mother, and they have an example of what it's like to be a husband. But most men don't sit down and
these niggas out here today, they groomed to be wives.
Shut up. But most men don't sit down and say, well, son, someday you're going to take a wife and you're going to have some children, and this is your responsibility, and you need to go get a wife someday. You don't need to go out there. You don't hear that no more. No, they're not doing that. So men who see it are more prone to say, well, I know someday I got to, I'm going to meet somebody and have some kids. I want somebody to carry on my name, and I'm going to have some kids, and I'll get married. But even with knowing that is coming, they look and see now all the things that will make them go away from being married. Prenups, divorces, I'm talking about these bad divorces, child support, people, you go into court to divide assets. Those kind of things, men see that and say, man, I ain't in no damn rush to be going to do that. So that's why I say it's harder, because even though a man may find favor in you, may love you, may want to be with you the rest of his life, it's still going to be a challenge for him to want to marry you, because he knows in today's society, marriage is different. There are some ups and some downs that come with marriage. So I'm not just getting a partner. I'm not getting a helpmate. I'm not just getting a wife, somebody to have my children, somebody to help me in life so that I'm not alone. What God intended us for, we went so far away from that, because when things go bad, now you the enemy. You the enemy. So a man is already looking at the day he becomes the enemy. Before he can even choose you, he can love you. He can think you the perfect woman for him. But he's also going to think about the day when you decide, or if you decide to become the enemy, and you want to end this marriage. For whatever reason, this marriage ends. You become the enemy, because that's what society shows us. That man is going to court. He going to be stripped of all his hard work and assets, the years he's put in, the time he can't get back. His children going to be pulled out of his household. He gets to see him when she say or the court say. There's so many things that he's going to be required to give up.
Now, I went out on this date with this girl one time, and she had been married before. Her husband, both of them were in the military. She had retired out the military, but he was still in the military. No, he had retired out the military also. So, no, he was still in, but he was paying alimony. Mm-hmm. And she had started messing with another guy. And the guy and her were living together or whatever. And she was still getting alimony from her husband. And I said, I think I asked, I said, are you going to stop getting alimony? You and the new dude together? What? She looked at me with some eyes. She said, hell no. Mm-hmm. And that just made me think, man, it's the system.
Yeah, and a lot of women won't marry again because they're getting that money from that man.
If women fought for this a long time. The child support system and family court, period. It's like if there would be a group of women that would go up and start fighting for fairness. Because I don't believe that a woman should leave a relationship. She been taking care of the house. She been doing all, and you leave her outside with nothing. And there's some niggas will do that. Nigga throw you out and won't give you nothing. I don't believe in that. Matter of fact, that I shun on things like that. The woman, even if she ready to go, she don't want to be with you no more. Matter of fact, even if she went out and cheated on you, I still don't think nobody deserves to be on the street. Period. I just don't believe in that. But so I think it should be a way that, hey, the woman is going to leave and be set up, or the man is going to leave and be set up, so he can have some kind of head start or jump start. I don't say head start, a jump start to starting their life over again. But the system where you rape the person that's financially stable, because some women get raped also that make a lot of money, and their husband really don't make that much money, mm-hmm. and they on the road, so their husband end up with the kids,
mm-hmm. So and all the stuff. Correct.
Yeah, and so the woman has to pay this this extremely astronomical amount of money, or we see it from the men's side also. It's just ridiculous. And as long as you have that system in place, it's like, man, I ain't getting in that water, man, because I ain't finna get in that water. Because they know that there's no guarantee that person will wake up one day and decide that, oh, you don't look the way you used to. Let me see if I can find somebody else. Or mm-hmm. I just don't feel the way I used to feel. There's no guarantee. So, because it's one thing for you sit your ass around and be heartbroken at the end of a breakup, but it's another thing when you heartbroken, your ass is broke, you ain't got nothing, you don't have nowhere. It's one thing. That's a hell of a situation to be in, and most people are not willing to put themselves in a position like that. They just not. Mm-hmm. They're just not willing to put themselves in a position like that and take a huge risk, because going through something like that for a man, it could literally take you years, damn near 10 years to get back up on your feet again. It ain't no thing that you gonna fix overnight, because if you get them large ass amount of child support taken out of your check, right? Plus you gotta pay alimony. You barely can afford to pay your rent, and you ain't gonna have no cable. You gonna have a bare minimum for your cell phone, everything. It's just Kevin, it's almost like you crippling them.
I think you're not building a case for those guys we were talking about yesterday, those bum guys. So, some of the guys that's out there that we think are bums might not necessarily be bums. They might be so stripped from the last relationship or marriage they was in, they gotta have a woman that they can stay with and help take care of them and stuff. But I get what you're saying. I had a girlfriend who, for the first time, I ran into somebody and met a woman that was paying child support. And like you said, a man had the daughter. And then when the girl got a certain age, he was like, okay, she's a teenager now and I can't talk to her, whatever, but I need you to take her back and all this here. But he had the nerve to still want to keep the child support going, had not went down there and stopped the child support.
He did what?
He sent the girl to her mother, but he did not go to the court system and say or stop the child support.
She was taking care of the child, but he was collecting the child support.
Yeah, so I get it. I think that we do need to come up with a situation where both parties are made whole, and that's what I believe in. And for a long time, I did not understand. Really just recently, and you would think, okay, you go through life and you would think that you would understand how men feel, or you would have, but it took me till now to understand, because I've been married before, and I've lost a husband to death, and then I married again, and divorce happened. And the divorce was amicable. We sit down, we sign paperwork. Matter of fact, I left them with the house and all the things, what they wanted to keep. And I took what I wanted to keep, and we went our separate ways. And we are still friends to this day. Actually, he'll call me sometime and ask to borrow money or whatever the situation may be. And a lot of dudes think that's funny, but he'll do it. And it's no problem for me. So I didn't know, I had never experienced guys who go through these horrible divorces. Man, like when that light bulb hit me one day, I was like, nah, I get it. So you will meet a guy and you really, really digging on him and you're liking him and y'all start to date, and the guy tell you, oh, I'm not interested in marriage. I'm not getting married again. Like, we can live together, we could be together, but I'm not marrying you again. And then you like, well, I'm showing you that I'm sweet, I'm a good woman, I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, I'm showing you all these, nice things. So like, what's wrong with me? You start to say to yourself, well, like, why wouldn't he want to be married to me? What's the problem? And so you have a conversation and he say, oh, it ain't that I don't want to be married to you, and it ain't that I don't think you're a good woman. It's the marriage thing that's a problem for me. So it ain't you. It ain't you as a woman. It's the marriage thing itself.
It's the legal.
And I couldn't understand it.
Binding contract. That's what it is.
Until it dawned on me how much a man suffers in some of these divorces. My God, that was so removed from me that I didn't even understand it. It didn't happen with my parents. They were young. They didn't have a lot. So it wasn't a lot of things to divide. They went their separate ways. The court decided what he would pay for child support, which he didn't pay. But, neither here or there.
So imagine like this. The child support for some of these men are so high, right? Mm-hmm. They barely can pay their rent, anything. I mean, at the end of the day, you might have $200 left to survive the whole month. You still got to put gas, food in the refrigerator and stuff. And then plus you got to get your sons or your daughters or whatever. Correct. Then you want to take your daughters. How you going to take your daughter out to eat? Your daughter want to go get some shoes. What you gonna do? Tell your mama, I'm paying them child support. Well, you don't want to do that. Mm-hmm. You want to take them and give them stuff and do stuff and make them feel good, make you feel good that you're able to do. You can't even do that.
And it took a while for me to see it from that point, because I forgot that some divorces could be so ugly and so horrible that literally, like you say, the man is pretty much left with the drawers on his back if she ain't burn them out in the front of the yard. So when you start to think on that level, when you actually sit down and you think about the loss.
I tell you what, man, the crazy thing I seen when they said Sugar Shane Mosley, why took this nigga title belt?
Oh my God.
Took this nigga belts.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that. And I was like, how did she get to take his belt? And you say she did it. And I was like, but how could they let her take something that was solely his? She didn't take her punches.
All that time he spent in the gym.
Oh my
all
God.
the days he spent in the gym and running and sweating and getting beat up. Woman took his belt from him.
But it goes back to an old saying, and not in all divorces. And I think, and believe me or not, I understand if a woman has been through a lot. And when I say a lot in a divorce, and I say, a form of emotional, not physical, but emotional, abuse, like where the man was out cheating, never home, she always was contending and had to put up with all the women and the groupies and whatever. And life for her was just so uncomfortable and so unhappy. I get that. I get that now you're angry and you're going for blood because you've been through a lot, and they're sticking there a couple of years with that. And now it's to a point where they can get out and have something for themselves. I get it, because now you want what they call pain and suffering money. I get it because you want to be paid for being as the good wife and being put through all the stuff you being put through. But what I don't get is these women who go and cheat on their husbands. Husband has made a home, has taken care of them and the kids. She knows where he is. She don't have to worry about bills, about money. Like, man, this dude is a good dude, a stand-up guy, and he did everything he was supposed to. Never gave her a reason to feel like he wanted anybody else but her. But for some reason, she becomes bored or whatever it is, or looking at her friends who are single, or them work conversations, I don't know. And she goes out and she steps out on her husband. And her husband finds out. Now, and for the life of me, most of them go step out on their husband with a bum ass nigga. That's what trips me out too. If you going outside your marriage, make sure he willing to take your husband's place and give you at least what your husband was doing. But that don't happen.
Because the same bad choices you made in men, they ain't gonna change once you get married. So, you gonna go keep making the same bad choices in men.
So they do that to the man, and then go to court. And go to child support. Oh, yeah. And won't take everything that the man has.
It's almost like it's almost like I'm gonna punish you for catching me.
For catching me. That's what I said.
Fix your motherfucking ass.
Oh, you caught me? You think you smart? You gonna wish you wouldn't have caught me. Like, where do they do that at? Like, when I start to meet more guys and the more we get into this, and I find out that men are actually going through this, I'm like, dude, y'all better men than me. Because that's crazy to me. Do you know what I would probably do to somebody that did something like that to me? So I can understand the pain. I can understand the anger, because that's so unnecessary. You know, I mean, literally, when me and my husband got together before we got married, you know, I said, we come into this marriage, but if for any reason that this marriage ends, we both go back our separate ways, and each person will have what they need to continue on with their life. However, there is one clause to that. Whoever cheats, sacrifice everything but their clothes. So if you cheat, you leave with the clothes on your back. If I cheat, I leave with the clothes on my back. And that's the agreement that we have before we even decide to get married. Because to me, there's no need to strip a person of their livelihood if you decide, you know, unreconciled differences. Hey, we not good with each other no more. So I want you to be whole and move your own with your life, and I'm gonna go over here and be whole and move on with my life, because we agree that we just don't work. I guess
you know what? I don't do that because this is the thing. If it's time for us to move on, and I know that I'm gonna take everything from you because you done cheated on me, only thing in my mind is I'm going to still have to be bothered with you. Because when you go off and get by yourself, you're going to get to thinking, damn, that's mine over there. Or that's mine. Or I should have, or that belonged to me. Or I should get this. And then it's going to be a back and forth, back and forth. I want you to be able to take your shit, whatever you need, get yourself set up wherever you at, and leave me the hell alone forever. That's what I want.
You're still thinking about a woman who's angry, or a woman who's going to be a target, because like I said, whether you're a male or female, if you decide to go out the marriage that you're in to be with somebody else, you're already realizing that there are risks that you're going to take that your partner could find out. So there needs to be some things that you're willing to sacrifice because that other person, but you know what? You're saying that other person means more than the person that's taking care of you. I tell women all the time, and men, anybody wants a kept man. So if that woman looks good, her makeup on, and she got on a nice weave, her hair done up, nails done up, driving a nice car, man, that's surprising. All I got to do is sleep with you. All I got to do is make you feel good in bed. All I got to do is sit across the table and buy you dinner here and there and smile with you. That's the easy part. But think about what the man on the inside of the house has to do. Or the woman on the inside of the house has to do.
All the stress he got to go through trying to take care of, trying to make sure everything is taken care of, the car running right.
Exactly.
And I don't give a damn, man. It's always going to be a problem. Somewhere. The refrigerator going to go out, AC going to go out, the fence fell down, the tire flat, all kind of shit, man. You got somebody call you about some taxes. Oh, this gotta have. It's just always an issue.
And just like with women, it works the same way. You know, the man goes out there, and the woman, all she gotta do is get dolled up, get sexy. When he come over to her house smelling good, she always looking good. So he thinks, oh, this is easy peasy, house laid out for him. Like she does this all the time. No, she doesn't. She do that because she knows you coming, and she ain't got to do it every day for you. She ain't got to look like this every day for you. She ain't got to wash your clothes. She ain't got to fix your food. She ain't got to smell your stanky feet when you get home from work. She ain't got to put up with none of that. She ain't got to buy your soap that you need. She ain't got to do none of that. Rub your back and your knees when you hurt. She ain't got to do none of that. Her job is for pleasure only. And the moment she start giving you any lip, you don't want her. So exactly. She knows she got to stay in her role and play her place. So if he say, I'm coming tonight, she going to lay it out, because you know what? Her sole goal is to take your wife's place. Because she wants to be taken care of. She wants somebody to look after her. But she don't know all the things that woman have to do to make sure you are the man that you are. And I tell people all the time, you know, when you're stepping outside of something you built with a person and you found favor to marry that person, and you step outside of that, you're taking a hell of a risk. That's a big risk that you're taking. And it's more than about material possessions, because in all of that, we're adults, we're human beings. And even though the struggle may be hard, most of the time we're able to move on with our life. No matter how it looks, we're able to regroup and move on our life. Now, there are some people who can't, but we are. But what happens to the children? They hurt the most. Yep. The children hurt the most in all of this.
Their life would be
forever changed. Forever change, because their mental state change. Yes, it changes, and then they have to grow up and deal with the loss of a parent not being in the household as a young man or young woman, and not know these things. And we don't think about those things when we so easily want to say, oh, I'm just not attracted to my spouse anymore, so I'm gonna go out here and sleep with Betty, or I'm gonna go out here and sleep with Mike. Man, it's so much more than that. Because if you probably saw them without all their makeup and the push-up bra and all that other stuff and the Spanx and all that, they might not look as good as your wife.
Yeah, man. Some of these dudes, man, can have a woman that's still looking good, still fine or whatever, and they'll swear by God that she ain't attracted no more. Until somebody else start laying pipe to her, then she become the finest thing walking on the earth. Oh my God, I didn't realize she was that fine. Yeah, right, nigga.
Yeah, well, you know, there's an old saying, one man's trash is another man's treasure.
Shit. You know how that go. You know how that go.